it down. Count it down.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast about Gen X versus Gen Z, millennials, baby boomers. And we're considered what, Noreen, Gen X?
We are Gen X.
We're
Yeah.
Gen X. So, welcome to our podcast today. Again, I'm Gina,
I'm Noreen.
Noreen, and we're going to have fun again together. So,
Yes.
have fun with us as we talk about all the ways that we're all different, the way we're all.
Yes.
So, and Noreen's got really good statistics.
I
So,
got some good
yeah,
statistics
Noreen.
on
So, go
all the
ahead. I
generations.
hear
Like
all this.
there's a lot of generations. So we have the greatest generation, right? The greatest generations are people who were born in 1901 to 1924.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
greatest generation. Yeah.
Really?
And then we have the silent generation. The silent generation is 1925 to 45. So that was during World War One, after World War One.
Okay. Okay.
So then we have the baby boomers, right? The baby boomers are 65 to baby boomers are 46 to 64.
Okay. So,
So
okay. So our parents were baby boomers.
yeah, I'm
Okay.
dating a baby boomer.
You are now? No, wait, you're not.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay.
And then Gina and I are
Oh, that's
we
right.
are
Yes, right.
Gen
You are. I'm sorry. You are dating a baby. I'm
we
sorry. Okay.
yeah, we are Gen X, so we are 65 to 79. So we're not gonna tell you where we are in that Gen X thing, but
Why
we're
should we
there.
tell all? Why?
And
No, we don't need to.
and then the millennials are 80 to 94. And then the Gen Zs, which are all of our children, 94 to 2012. And then they have now they go alpha, which is 2013 to 2025. And then they have beta, which is 25 to
What?
39.
What?
They already went up to beta, like way past. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's way above. I don't know. I don't. I can't keep up. All I know
No,
is
no.
when our kids were born, I don't know if the full moon was out.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different. It's a
Because
totally different generation. But go ahead.
oh man. Yeah, gee. So talk about our Gen Z. Talk about our Gen X's.
Oh my
Talk
God.
about when we were growing up, how life
Of our
was.
life. We didn't have our phones. We didn't
Mm-mm.
have any, listen, I wrote letters to my friends and we mailed them. Okay. So one of my
Yep.
biggest thing is when I was punished and I couldn't communicate, my mother and father would take my little phone away. I had a Garfield phone that was, you attached to the wall with the big, what do you call it?
Yeah, the cord,
Cord,
the
the cord.
cord. That
And
was
I would be like, oh
forever.
my God, I can't talk to my friends. Okay. Next thing you know, you take out like some loose leaf paper, you put it
Yep.
in an envelope and you go and you mail it. But it's
Mm-hmm.
just like things like that, like just roller skating. And we
Yep.
play with our neighbor. All the kids
Yep.
come out, we play dodgeball and ring the doorbell and run.
Yeah, ring the doorbell, run
We could
away.
really
Right.
piss off
Right.
the older people
First,
in our
the first
neighborhood.
generation to egg houses during
Yes,
Halloween.
yes, toilet paper. It's, spray. What do you call that? What is it?
Spray paint.
Spray
Yep.
paint or whatever like that. Yeah, or
The silly
yeah, the
string,
silly
right?
string. We would go to the parks and slide down the most hottest aluminum back of the. Do you remember that? These
Yes.
of these slides were aluminum. We would
Yep.
burn our backs, but we didn't care. We were
No.
just having fun and running
No.
around. I
And the
mean,
back of our legs would be like
birds,
bread. They would be
birds.
burning.
Seriously, and we thought it was fun. It wasn't a big deal, right? And we went roller
No.
skating on the weekends.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, we had our fluorescent bracelets on. I mean, we had our
Yep.
look at Noreen's earrings. We had the big hoop earrings, our hair, and the what was it? Ultra hold. It was
Aquanet.
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 Oh my God, my hair would be like,
Like, look.
you know what I mean? And
Like,
it was like, yeah, it was like a brick. Like you couldn't even like get past it.
no.
We had our jeans that were washed out. And there was also
Mm-hmm.
a jean that was called Cavaricci jeans. I don't know if you remember, but they were like $100 a pair. And I'm like telling my mother I want a pair of these Cavaricci jeans. It's like,
Well, oh my God. Jesus. I also remember like Jordache, remember Jordache jeans?
yes.
I grew up very poor, right? We had nothing. I'm the youngest of seven, right? So we lived about 40 minutes north of the Bronx. That's where
Okay.
I grew up.
Okay.
And we literally had back in the 80s, I could tell you, when I grew up, it was like living in the 60s because we had nothing. Like we were
Yeah,
very poor. But you didn't know you were poor because all our neighbors were in the same boat. We
exactly.
played outside.
Well, that's the thing.
In the
Nobody
morning,
gave.
we left outside.
Hey,
The light came on at dark. We went back inside.
yeah. I mean, my parents would be like, my mother would be like, all right, we'd be hiding under a rock somewhere. And we're
Yeah.
like, Gina, and I'd be like, I'm coming, coming.
My mom, because we lived on like 6 acres up there, right?
Oh wow, okay.
And going up to my house when I was a child, there was like 30 steps going up a hill like this to the top of my house. We lived on
Oh
like on top
wow,
of a
okay.
cliff, right? And my mom would stand on this little porch in the front of her house and ring like this freaking bell and
I love
say,
it.
and call all our names in an order, like all of our names in an order for dinner time. And we ringing this bell and
I
we'd be
love it.
running. And oh my God, it
It
was
was
great.
just,
It was
but
so
you
good.
know what? We didn't go far, right?
No,
We
no.
may be missing, but all the neighbors watched out for us too. We would be in and out of
Yes.
houses. Everybody, today's world, like I feel like no one really
No.
watches out for the kids. And I'm not saying every neighborhood, maybe there's some neighborhoods, but it's a
Yeah.
totally different world
No,
today.
I
I
know.
mean, we didn't have electronics.
No.
We were like not, we were using our brain. Like
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
saying that you don't use your brain doing electronics, but we were able to think out of the box.
Yeah. Well, we had right?
Right.
Imaginations, like huge
Imagination. I mean, we
imaginations.
would dig
How many
holes in our
forts did you
backyard.
build?
I
How many
think
forts did you build?
oh my God, so many. And guess what? I wanted to be like a prehistoric. I would dig in my backyard thinking I'm gonna find like dinosaur bones, and me and my sister would be digging in the yard.
Sheena wants to be an archaeologist.
That's what it is. I couldn't think of the word.
She wants to look for
Friends.
dinosaurs. She's looking for the dinosaurs in the Bronx, you know? That's what
Exactly. I mean, we'd be running around drinking out of people's hoses. Like it was no like not a big deal.
And another thing, were we ever sick? No.
No, no. I mean, geez, I
Mm-mm.
went to the doctor like for my physical, and maybe if I got like
That's it.
rota, I don't even back then. I don't even know if it was strep. It was called like tonsillitis. I don't even know what it was, but it
And
was
how did our
a
and
big deal.
how did our parents treat our illnesses?
Oh my God, you're gonna be fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Just go to school. I'm like, Mom, I'm dying. I have a fever. No, you don't. Go to school. Go to school.
Go to school. If your fever is under 100, you're going to school. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. And you know what? It was sad. Sorry, 1 second. I'm sorry. Let me just take this.
Hmm.
Okay. But yeah, it was just different. You know what it is? It taught us to be strong
Hmm.
minded. You know,
Hmm.
we're not weak. I mean, I feel like this generation is our generation. We're really strong-minded people.
Well, go back to our generation. I read a statistic that the Generation X, which is us, are the most self-independent individuals, the working individuals, the more people to adapt to other everything, and the most generation that can communicate with each other is Generation X.
Right. Thank you. Because we've learned to communicate. We had to play with other children. We weren't
Hmm.
attached to like a tablet or all these things. I mean, these kids today, you're talking, they're like, what? What did you say? Now listen to me. I think I would have been in trouble, right? Normally, maybe you imagine back in the
Oh
day,
no.
we're
Yeah.
texting people and saying,
Mm-mm.
ooh, whatever person.
No.
I mean, I would have probably been in in big trouble.
No, my father would be already outside digging the hole to throw
No,
me in.
seriously. It would have been broken in a million pieces.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
just
I mean, we had Atari, right? But we had
right.
Atari. We could only play one day a week,
No,
right? Yeah.
seriously. And look, our cartoons on Saturdays, they went off. The TV, all cartoons were turned off by 12 o'clock. There was no
Yep.
more. If you had the
Get
TV,
out.
no more cartoons after 12.
Get out.
Nothing. I mean,
This,
I love being
this,
outside though. I
I
love
know.
being outside.
I know. I know. I remember growing up, and like I said, we lived like 40 minutes north of the city. Both my parents are from the city, but that's where I was born, up there. And I remember them saying, get out. And we would get the whole neighborhood together. And I lived, like I said, in a small, not a very big neighborhood, maybe like 10 houses on this road, but
Mhm.
everybody had like a lot of property. But each of us all had kids. There was like 30, 40 kids I grew up with. And we would all
Play.
get together. We looked like a bunch of hoodlums, but
It's
we would all get together and just play like crazy stuff. Like,
right. I mean, you think of weird things. Like I remember like playing like I don't know where you lay there like you're like I don't know dead, and then people would like
yes,
put their fingers. I don't
yes,
know, do weird things to try to like, and then you don't look. I don't know. You jump up. I don't know what it
yes,
was called. Okay,
yes.
we thought of the strangest, like the most creative games.
Dude, let me tell you something. The people I grew up with, we created Walking Dead back then because
That
we used to play zombies.
yes, that's
Okay.
it. Zombies. It was zombie. That's what it was. It was like a zombie. You
Yes,
would lay there, and then you would just come out. Like
yes,
it was crazy. We had guys in the neighborhood playing ninja. They would
yeah,
come out and we would be running for our lives. Like they were just like,
yeah.
and you know what? We weren't afraid of like getting hit in the head with like a
No,
ball. I mean, it was just like
no.
to get on your bike. You know
Yeah,
what? And
The
for me, where
bike.
I lived, I used to walk to school. So I used to
Yeah.
walk, especially when I got to at the time it was considered middle school. And now
Right.
it's junior high. Now it's middle
Right.
school. My school from where I lived, there was no buses allowed. It was a small town.
Right.
I walked 4 miles to school.
Because you were in the Bronx, right? Where
No,
were you?
I was in Westchester
Oh,
County.
that's right. You were in
I was in Westchester County, so I was like, I was very close to near the Bronx, but I was in the
where
suburbs
were you? New
Westchester,
Rochelle?
in Pelham.
Pelham. Yeah.
Pelham.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you know what? So to me, I had to walk to school, and let me tell you something. I would beg my mother sometimes. She's like, "You got to walk," and all the neighborhood friends would ring my doorbell, and we
Mm-hmm.
all walk together in this group. And
Mm-hmm.
along the way, I'd stop and get a bagel.
Yeah.
I mean, and it didn't matter. Like that's how it taught us to be. It's sad because it's not like that today. And
No.
but
No, not every. I mean, it's a little different down here. You see kids walking around all the way down here because it's a
yes,
little different
yes,
because it's a smaller town and small, like little
yeah,
city.
yes.
But yeah, I know. I understand. Like, up, my kids couldn't do that. You
No,
know.
no.
And we lived in a really good town. But the
Yeah,
problem with us is our schools were 45,000 miles
I
away.
know. You know what? Here too, we had no sidewalks when I was raising
Right.
the kids. There
No
was
sidewalk.
sidewalks,
Right.
and it's like if you walked out, you were on main roads at that point. You
Right.
walk out of the neighborhood, next thing you know, you're on a main road. And the buses, I mean, and I don't know. It's just a different world. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like I'm very thankful, Noreen, that we grew up the way we grew up.
Oh, me too.
And when I
I
talk to other
say,
people, they feel the same way.
you
We're
know, my daughter especially, she will be 24 in May, and she says, "I wish I grew up in the 80s, man." She's like, "I
very,
wish I grew up with your,"
I
because she's
know.
old soul. She's an old soul, and she is definitely an old soul. This child, she listens to classic rock.
I love
She
it.
knits. You know what I'm
Oh, I
saying?
love it. She's like old school. She's old school. Like she's an
She's
old
old
soul.
school.
Like I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love this.
And
I
and
loved all.
I remember she calls me up the other day, like a couple, like during Christmas time, and she's like, she goes, "Mom, yeah, she actually she FaceTimed me, you know, she's and because she lives up in New Hampshire, right? And I'm
Yeah.
in South Carolina. So she FaceTimed me, and what is she doing? She's a Friday night, she's 23 years old. Most kids her age are out partying or doing the hell they want. She's in there, she's got her pajamas on, a glass of wine, and she's making Christmas cookies and
Love
listening
it.
to Christmas jazz
I
music.
love
I'm like,
that. I love
who
that.
are you?
I love that though. Listen, I love that. You know
Yeah.
what? Because instead of her going out and partying, because she doesn't want to do that,
Now,
she wants to just stay home and enjoy her time being in the house, and she knows how to
yep.
enjoy herself.
Yeah. And that's how we were. We loved our houses. We
I know.
loved, like when Gina and I lived up in New York, and we didn't live very far from each other.
No.
What we did was go to each other's houses and just spend time at our houses. We didn't
Yeah.
go out partying. We
No,
didn't
I
go
didn't
out.
want to. No, I didn't
Mm-mm.
want to do that. Like, honestly, the people that were doing all that stuff, like, I didn't want any part of that. Honestly, you knew
Yeah.
who your friends were, you knew who you would do. You have people come over. Like, I had,
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, remember I had everybody over that time. I mean, I had people over.
Hmm.
We had a pool. I would
Yep.
have like the moms over. The kids would go
Yep.
in the pool. We have like
Yep.
a luncheon or whatever it was. Like, it was just fun. It was just all
Hmm.
out fun. And why? Because we wanted to make sure our kids were all right. So you
Hmm.
group of friends that
Hmm.
you know that you're watching out for their kids too.
Right. And yeah, and you knew our kids were with good people, but
Right. But let
yeah,
me tell
so
you, my
our
kids, can I tell you something real fast? I'm sorry but
no,
even
no, okay.
kids, but there's no sidewalks. At one point I couldn't even really my kids, they learned later in life how to ride their bikes too. Like it wasn't like a big bike thing.
I
They get hit
know.
by a freaking car. There was no sidewalks. I had to take them to like parking lots and things to ride their bike. I'm like,
I know.
it
Well,
was
you want to hear
different.
this? Well, you want to hear this? So in my neighborhood, I grew up in a different neighborhood than you, and we had a very good neighborhood where
Yeah.
my kids grew up. Kids ride their bikes because we were off the road. We were off
Okay.
the
Yeah, you
road.
were more on like out there. Like it wasn't like a
Yeah, my
traffic
neighborhood
come
was a
through there.
yeah, no, it was a good neighborhood, and kids learned how to ride the bikes. But Patrick, my son, never I know I just shamed his name, but he never wanted to learn how to ride a bike, right? He learned in college down here how to ride a bike.
Oh my gosh. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like it was not a thing. You
No,
they
not like us. We had to get to point A to B on
that
our bike.
I
That's why
would
we had to
ride,
ride a
listen,
bike.
I would ride miles. And one time I had no money to buy water and I was dying. And I remember like me and my friend were like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Like we're dying over here. And
Right, because
we rode miles and we had to ride home. We had to go from
right, because
dying.
guess what? Our parents weren't picking us up and dropping us
No,
places.
no, no. My mother was like,
My
sorry, I'm
mom was like, look,
busy.
Yeah.
If I called home sick, like if I went to the nurse's office, my mother would make me sit there and wait. She didn't just come. Like no, my thing when my kids were sick, I was like, I would drop everything and just go running. Right? Get
Right.
out of the nurse. My mother would leave me. I'm like, Ma, it took you a half an hour to get here. Oh, I know. I had to get things done before I came back. I was
I
like, oh my
know.
God, what I had a freaking priority.
Oh my God. I remember one year I had summer school, right? Because everybody this one year had summer school because this teacher we had was like really, really bad. Like the whole class had summer school.
Yeah.
So my parents had to work. They worked, right? So and we had no buses picking us up to go to
Yeah.
summer school, right? It was done.
No, no.
So they're like, you got to go to summer school, but you got to figure out how you get in there. Now, where I lived and where my high school was probably about 5 miles away, right?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to walk 5 miles, like I'm going to die, right? So thank God my neighbor next door, he had summer school. So I had to jump a ride with him to
Oh,
go
how
to summer
that's
school.
what I'm saying. It was not like you just did it. Listen, you just did it though. You knew you had to go to summer school. You
Mhm.
figured out how to get there and you just did it. You didn't like cry. You didn't say,
No.
oh my God. Like I'm not trying to be mean, but a lot of the kids today,
Yeah.
I'm saying my own children sometimes, like if my husband, I mean, back in the day, my husband would be like decorating the whole outside. He's like, come on, boys, come help me. They would,
Right.
we're not going up on that ladder. Oh my God,
Right.
I hurt my leg. Oh my God,
Right.
what is going on here? Like, I'm like, there's something wrong in the water. There's
Well,
something.
that's our Generation Z. That's our kids, right?
Yes,
Generation
yes.
Z. But, I think, I mean, I don't know. So they're saying that like I read a statistics that Generation Z are the largest generation in the world. The largest generation in
Wow.
the world, Gen
That's
Z.
amazing, though. I didn't even
People
think.
who were born from 95 to 2012 are the largest generation in the world. Um, but also Gen Z are the unhappiest generation in the world.
Really
Yeah, the
interesting.
unhappiness and quits the most.
Okay,
They
so do you
quit the
think
most.
it equates to the fact that they spend a lot of time on social media too, and that's really not good for your brain? And there's
Right.
so much electronics or things that they stare at today. They put themselves all over the place on all these social platforms too, and that could be
Right.
adding to some of the depression.
But I feel also because you have the alpha generation, which is after our children who are 2013 to 2025. I think they are really confused because of COVID.
Oh yeah,
They are
100%. I really feel bad.
and I'm kind of like thankful that our kids did graduate
Me
when they did
too.
and they were
Me.
born when they did because if I had a child right now in the school district, I think I would be probably in jail.
Yeah, because you know what? Because you would
Like,
go up against the school district because
yeah,
that COVID, no one should have ever been canceled out of school. Schools should have never been closed. And what
right.
they did to these kids is they're behind. They're
They
all
are.
behind.
And that's what it says here, with what I'm looking, these kids are 2 years behind this generation,
Oh my gosh,
alpha
two
generation.
years behind.
2 years, the alpha generation, 2013s to 2025s.
Very interesting.
And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And then they said, and this is so funny. So I brought this up. So the baby boomers, which is my sister, a lot of my older,
Right.
because a lot of my siblings are a lot much older than I am. So my sister's the baby boomer generation, and they're saying that the baby boomer generation, which makes sense because those are the people who were born 46 to 64, so they're a little
Right.
older, that they're the most wealthiest in the country, right? But
Really.
I'm like, so I asked my boyfriend and my sister, where's the money? Hello? Hello? You're the baby boomers. Hello?
Are you not telling me something that I should know? All right. I love it. I
That's
love it.
so it's interesting. I think it's really interesting with all the generation and all the gaps and
Right.
just and it's we were just talking about this. I was just talking about this earlier with my kids and because they just love that we're doing this.
Right.
And they also love that they were talking about the generations and stuff. And they're like, it's just amazing because do you know that the greatest generation, there are people still alive from the greatest generation
Really? Wow.
hmm
I didn't know that. Oh my
in
God.
this country? Not many, but there are
Oh,
in the
wow.
silent generation. There's still people. Could you imagine being born in the
No,
20s and
no,
still being alive?
no. Oh, no, not at all.
Oh,
Not at all.
you know, it's and you look at the map, G, And let me tell you something. We're like, we're at the bottom,
Right.
but we are the next generation that's going to be taking care of everything.
No, that's what I know that. That's what I'm thinking when you say that. It's kind of scary, right? Not scary. I'm just gonna just give us an update. We have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
10
put it on.
minutes.
We don't want anything to happen like last time, guys.
No, no. Okay, yeah, I got
So,
9:29
all
left.
right,
So
good. So yeah,
so let's so what else you got to say about
so you
our
know what? But
generation?
honestly, again, I'm just thankful. I think with our experiences and even like dancing, I love to dance.
Oh,
Listen, I was big into freestyle.
me
So
too.
you see, when I hear music, it makes
It makes me
dance.
dance.
I love like I was big into all these things. Like, you know what? And I'm not trying to say anything, but do you remember back then, like you can get into like certain clubs. You would be like, you would try to
Let
I
me tell
would
you
have to,
something, Jay. Uh, I used to go to this club called Tuxedos in this
oh wait, for this. And
right?
stuff in upstate.
Right. And I went to other club in Danbury or
Yeah,
whatever, and we
yeah.
had this great club in my town called the Briar Patch.
Okay.
Now it's actually Carmel Spins is where Carmel Spins is.
Oh, I didn't.
It used to
Oh,
be a club
oh, I
back in
didn't
my
know
day.
that. Oh my God, I didn't know
It
that.
was a
That's
cl-
so
it was a
interesting. Interesting.
dude, it was a club.
Okay.
And I was probably 14 going in there.
That's what I'm saying. No one asked you your age. You had no identification. And I remember one time I went to this club and we were trying to get past it. So my husband, excuse me, I wasn't married then. My cousin,
Yeah.
we went into this it was called Streets. It was in New Rochelle. And I
Okay.
never her taking a crimp. Remember how you could crimp your hair?
Oh yeah, yeah.
She trimmed my hair so high. Like this. My hair was like this. She sprayed it all up, and I was able to get through. And I
Yeah.
didn't my parents, I mean, they're not alive today, but you know what? I had to like sleep over like someone's house just to like go out. So
And that's how you did it though. But that's how
yes,
you did it. You stayed over a friend's
you
house,
did.
because you couldn't do it
Hey,
inside your
no,
house.
you cannot.
And you can't see my siblings, my older sister would always try to sneak out of the house.
Yeah.
It always got caught. I'm like, what are you doing? Just go
I,
to your friend's house. Like what?
I got caught. Listen, I got caught one time with my cousin sneaking out of the garage, and my father pleasure. And again, I'm Gina.
I'm Noreen.
And we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.